City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down, yeah.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop worked his life on its complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7. I love the people, this is city. I met all my best friends, and I wanna thank every brick. I wanna thank every entrance to every building that I step in this city of mine. I owe you most my best moments in life. See, I fell in love for the first time in Golden Gate Park. I saw my first rap show at Great American Hall. I used to beg my homies for a ride across the bridge to goof off and spend the whole damn day doing whatever we want. Keith drove us down to Ike's place while we'd roll up a blunt, and me and Jack would get stoned, walk around and get lost. Don't think I'll ever truly pay back all I was lucky to get just by walking through the city. No, I'm a small part of this.
City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
I never really had a place to call my own, so I travel and I roam till I find that. But I'm full of adventure, so I wander and I venture, and it's safe to say that really I don't mind that. I book a flight to try to figure where my mind's at, a spot where I don't spend no money, just some time at. I mix and mingle with the people till I learn a little. I brought some weed and baby, maybe we could burn a little. She said you're funny, I said no, I'm Xavier, then I left. Sun shining, birds chirping, let me take a breath. I'm headed to the city where my chance to make it best. What people like to give a little, then you take the rest. I'm hoping one day maybe I can find a place to rest. I fell in love with life and wonder where it take me next. I like the hustle and bustle, I fell in love with the fashion. I feel the pulse of the city, it's moving me like a passion and it's mine.
How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. Me and my hometown, baby, we go way back. All the situations, circumstances, still we don't mind. Steady going on, I dance around the street lights. Hey, I know every street sign, hanging around the block. Like if you are my friend, then you are welcome any moment. Yeah. City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
Ooh, here we go.
Woo.
What it do, LGL fam? Welcome to the party. We are here. I'm going to talk 600 miles an hour like a professional Puerto Rican right now, so just hold your breath. This is going to be a dope show, so I'm going to fly through this intro because I want to make sure we have enough time to melt your freaking brain. I hope you had coffee. If you didn't have coffee, go in the bathroom, get a bump, smoke a weed, do whatever. Make sure you are focused. Today, Rosemary is going to explode your brain because she rocks at this stuff. I'm so happy to have her on the show. All of us need to step up our automation game, and it's only going to get better with iOS 15. So now, if you've been putting this off, now is the time to crack your knuckles, do some calisthenics, and get ready. This is it. If you're new around here, let us know you're new in the chat so we can welcome you, give you the happy aloha, because our family is like that. And I must say hello to our regulars, but I want to remind you, if you're catching this on the replay, please let us know you're watching on the replay squad. If you have a question still, drop it in the comments and I will get back to you and get your question answered. Today's show is going to be absolutely freaking fire. I hope you guys are ready. First of all, let me say hello to Keely because she made it here quick and I know she's going to replay this. Parker is here. What's up, Mr. Parker? I appreciate having you here. Mr. Kevin Cox is here. Mr. Camera Junkie, what it do? Filmtopia, aloha. Raphael Ludwig. By the way, can we take 5 seconds and say congratulations to the Three Lions for breaking the Germany curse? I was like, I'm going to be late to get downstairs to see Rosemary because straight up, I was watching the match. I was freaking out. But thank you, Luke Shaw for the assist and Harry Kane for popping them in and putting us up 2-0. So we win. Even though Rosemary's from the UK, I don't think she's a sports ball fan. Anyway, David, what's up, man? Mr. Camera Rich. Mr. Rich, what's up here? Maxon, sorry about that game, but I'm glad you're here anyway. And speaking of my other German friend, what's up, Evie? I know you would be here for this because Automations is your life, and you and Rosemary are basically spirit animals, so I'm glad you guys can be here together. Gigi, what it is. Indy is new. Good to see you here. And everybody, like Kevin Cox says, smash the like button on the way in. Okay, without further ado, again, I'm going to talk 687 miles an hour. We want to say what's up to a world-class podcaster and automation maven. I had the pleasure of being a guest with her on Twit, and I was like, yo, one of these days, I'm going to have to get her on the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big LGO welcome to Miss Rosemary Orchard.
Yeah. You asked me, and I said, sure, why not? Because, this is fun, and I love automation, so, why not? Why not give it a go?
Yes. Okay, gang. Listen, today is going to be absolutely rad. So, without further ado, how's it going, MTD? Good to see you here. First of all, Rosemary, tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm a podcaster. I'm over on the Twit network on iOS today for anybody who wants to learn all about iPhones, iPads, watches, HomePods, Apple TVs, all of the goodies there. I also podcast on the Relay FM network with a show called Automators. If you like automation and you like what we come up with today, you are going to love Automators. And I've got a productivity podcast called Nested Folders, which I love podcasting about. It's kind of personal therapy every single episode, which is, I think, pretty good. You can also find me screencasting on Screencast Online, writing at the Suite Setup and doing all sorts of things. And I really love doing this. And I also need to thank Doc Rock himself because you are the one who told me I needed Ecamm Live. And oh my God, it has made podcasting so much better for me. So much better. So thank you for that.
First of all, lovely swag on the Air Max Pros. Yeah. Anyway, those things are amazing balls. I have been tweaking out. My gang has been laughing at me because I've been tweaking out there. You remember Colorware PC? Are you familiar with them? Yeah. So I found that they will do wrapped headphones, and I found a pair of like lovely purple bad boys, and I'm like, I kind of want to do that, but I don't know if I should, but I kind of want to, but I shouldn't, but I really want to, and it's been driving me nuts because the way I want to do it, it's going to come out to like $800, but they're so gorgeous. Like I'm in there. It's
so pretty. I really love it. I was looking at like D-brand skins or something like that as well because they do really good skins for devices.
I have D-brand.
But this curve, like, I don't know, with this curve, like, I think it's going to be really difficult to like wrap a skin around that.
That's what I say about my pants. I'm like, with this curve, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Okay, so yeah, I did upper volume just a taste, and yeah, every once in a while, sometimes the guests will come in one side, but hey, you just listen with one side because the info is going to be all you need to know. And I got to say, Rosemary, you bring celebrities to the show. Mr. Matt is here. Matt and I have chatted it up in like Clubhouse before, but Matt, I'm glad you can make it here today. All right, gang, we're going to dive in. We're going to absolutely dive in. And so, first of all, the one that just absolutely blew my mind recently is I was listening to you and Micah. Absolutely love Micah. Micah is so awesome person. So I was listening to you guys a couple weeks ago, and you went through this lightning round on shortcuts, and you showed the fact that there's shortcuts for day one, which cracked me up because I used day one since day one. That sounds super weird, but yeah, from back in 2011 when it came out, or 2012 when they won like App of the Year or whatever, I've been on day one ever since. And I can't believe I never checked the shortcuts app to see if there was day one
What
shortcuts.
do you like? What
I'm
do
sorry.
you like?
I mean, when Brett first coded together Slogger, I don't know if you remember Brett's Slogger situation.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh
my
my
I think I
goodness.
still have some of that stuff running somewhere. I have
Yeah,
no
me
idea
too.
how.
But
yeah.
Foursquare is dead, so it doesn't work. But so when they got Instagram integration, I think I went in and tried to take out the Instagram integration. But a lot of that stuff, yeah, is still running. And from then, I was like, well, I guess if we're getting IG, that's kind of my primary social at that particular time. Now it's no longer. And then IFTTT did some breaking things. So one of the things that I will probably want to repair is, let's say I go in and I see a video from Matt or from my homegirl Keely, right? And before I had it set up, if I hit the like button, it would automatically tag that into my day one. For the simple reason that, you know how it is in YouTube, you're watching, you're enthralled, and then all of a sudden the dog's going mental, or in your case, the cat, or, you know, the neighbor is wondering why you're outside playing with your door locks. But anyway, you walk away from the video and then you can't find it again. So I used to stick them in my day one so I can find them. Or if I decide to reference it later, I could always look for them in day one. So is that something you could do in shortcuts now? Again,
Well, that's something you're going to need the YouTube support for. And I'm just checking. And it turns out I don't have the YouTube app installed on this device. So it's downloading right now, theoretically.
Just
but
do
I'm
it
pretty
live. Go ahead.
Yeah, well,
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
Oh. Okay, well, this is fun. My Stream Deck is having a moment.
Oh, you know, one of the things that I have noticed in iOS 15 on my iPad is YouTube is dumb. But, I mean, hey, that's what we get for installing fun stuff from out the gate. The other one that's been cracking me up is my floaty keyboard. It will type, but the on-screen keyboard will still come on. And then I find when I'm pasting in passwords, I have to actually hit the box again in order to have it fill the password. Yeah, it's weird, but hey, it's beta. So what do you want?
Yeah. Well, the good news is Matthew Castanelli, who's sitting in the chat room right there, has just confirmed for me that there isn't a way to grab links from YouTube. And I didn't think there was, but I was just going to double check just in case. And that's kind of one of the tricky parts with shortcuts, or indeed automation. If you want to involve multiple things, then all of them have to be willing to play ball. It's like juggling. You can't just throw one and expect it to work. Like, everybody involved has to pick up the ball and pass it along. You know, there's a couple of options you can do. Obviously, there's the share sheet on iOS and macOS, and some other things. And once you've got the link, then it's really easy. So now if I press the button, then I can pop up my iPhone. There we go.
Let me make it so we can see more. Rosemary.
Okay, so I've got a brand new shortcut here. Don't worry, that's called New Shortcut 10, and I am doing this on iOS 14 for theoretical stability purposes. So the first thing you're going to want to do is use the three dots over on the right to turn on Show in Share Sheet. And if you just deselect everything here and then just go to Safari web pages and URLs, then that's going to help narrow this down, because otherwise this is going to show up in the share sheet all the darn time, and you don't want that. Okay, and so save link to day one. Okay, let's ignore my capitalization problem for now. And then if we just type day in the search at the bottom, then it comes up with the apps, and day one is one of those. And so you can just create a day one entry. And if you use this magic wand in that text box, then you can take the shortcut input. And then if you tap on the show more, then you can come up with tags and things like that. So say, for example, you want to, you know, put a link tag in there. Then you can do that. And then that's done. And so then if I go to a web page, this is Amazon, let's pick something else. Let's pick Reddit, for example, just because there's always fun stuff on there, cat pictures. Now if I tap on the share and I scroll down, then you can see here it's in gray for some unknown reason on my side, but it's not showing up like that on the live stream, which is a good thing. Underneath process and working copy, there's save link to day one, and that's my shortcut. And I tap this, and then it's come up and it's running, and it's thinking about things, and my iPhone is possibly crashing. But once it finishes, there we go. I will just quit that and reopen it, because apparently it got a little stuck and I need to sign in again. Gotta love it when iOS decides to be unstable. Well, it would save it. So let's try that again. I will share right here and then save link to day one. Tap on that. Oh, fun. I chose iOS 14 because I thought it was more stable. Apparently I was wrong. That is so typical. I mean, I can always switch over to iOS 15. I'm just going to try force quitting that because I've got the other iPhone right here. So I came prepared because, you know, it's always good to have two. All right, well, I will switch out those devices a second and see if we can get that sorted for the next shortcut, because it's pretty easy to share a link into something, but you're going to want to be able to get more detail about things sometimes. And I know that that's quite useful, you know, just saving the URL for things. Sometimes URLs, it just like it's the website name and then /12345678890, and that's not very useful when you're looking at it later going, what is this and why did I save it?
Exactly. You like, what did I paste this in here for? And I don't get it.
Exactly. Yeah, so you're going to want to get a bit more detail, and then you can use this trick with copy and paste or anything else. And I'm just going to fix this option. There we go. Perfect. So now I have, excellent. It's switched over as well. Perfect. So I'll just, this is iOS 15 now. And of course, iOS 15 is a little crashy, even on beta 2. Okay, wonderful. So my save link to day one has made it over. And so this looks a little bit different, but I wouldn't worry about that. So what we need to do now is there's a web section, and this is there on iOS 14 and iOS 15, so don't panic if yours looks a bit different. But there's this get details of Safari web page. And what you can do here is we can get like the page selection. So if you've got something selected on a page, so say for example a paragraph and a URL, something like that, then you can you know, pop that in there. You could get the entire article out of something, but that's not going to be very useful for YouTube videos because you don't really want the description. You want the title, and that's just the name. And then here, as well as creating something with the shortcut input, I'm just going to use that trick where you tap and hold on the spacebar, and then your keyboard's like a trackpad when you do that. And if I just go back to the beginning, there we go, then I can also add the name here. And so now, whenever I save something, it will grab the name of it for me and the URL, and then save that to day one. So I've got all of that. And what you could do, and this is much easier to do in iOS 15, so if people are interested in getting on the public beta, hopefully that'll be out in not too distant future. If there's no URL, then you can get the clipboard. And this is super easy to do. You just tap it, and like that, you know, now if there's nothing there, it'll grab my clipboard. So if I've copied something like a URL from YouTube, then, you know, you can just go ahead and save that right away, which, you know, I certainly use this kind of thing all the time. I previously had to build in like a whole, if there's nothing here, then pop up and ask for our input, but put a clipboard in there so that I can, you know, so it's already pasted if that's what I wanted and stuff like that. And it's a whole mess, but now it's really simple, and that's 2 actions to get the name of the page or the video, whatever it is you're sharing, and then dump it and URL into day one.
That is freaking cool. Okay, that is cool. Guys, I don't know if you guys understand this. Okay. All right, so you know me, I had to get my personal answer out the way. So now, if you guys have questions, make sure you put the Q colon in the front so I can find your question. And Patrice, Viget, I know you don't watch sports ball either, but I'm just going to keep rubbing it in because England finally broke the Germany curse and won a game at Wembley. So I'm excited for this. I hope they win the whole thing. My friends will be happy.
I mean, I hope somebody deserving of it wins the whole thing, you know, whoever that is.
You're just so nice and fair. We're not nice and fair. We wouldn't cause pain and anguish.
I mean, here's the secret. As you guessed correctly before, I'm not super into sport, and I certainly don't get like super excited about things. I've been to things like baseball games, I've been to football games and stuff, and it's fun while you're watching, but at the end of the day, providing, you know, it's not like somebody's stolen the ball and run away with it, and that's how they won, then I think it's all good fun.
There you go. There you go. Dude, that is super, super cool. And yes, Matt mentioned that YouTube links have a mini embed in day one too. That's cool. I didn't know that. Don't ask me why I didn't know that, but hey, that's cool. So, we always thinking about things that help us for our podcast or for our live streams and that. So what type of shortcuts have you built that will be, say, beneficial to creators? I know
Well,
you
one of
probably
the
have
first
massively nice ones.
Yeah, I've got some pretty huge ones, so I'm not going to share them as is because they're not going to make a whole lot of sense for people. Like for example, one of the ones that I've got when I tap an NFC tag. So for people not sure what an NFC tag is, those key cards in hotels where you touch it to the lock on the door and it opens the door. That's an NFC tag. And so you can buy like little chips or stickers with these in, and I have loads of
I
them
have.
that are scattered around my house.
Yeah.
Great. And I've got a little one with a podcasting microphone on. And when I tap it, it asks me how long I'm going to be podcasting for if it can't find an event in my calendar. If it can find an event in my calendar, though, it just grabs that, adds a little bit of padding onto the end of the event, and then puts my phone in Do Not Disturb for that length of time. And with iOS 15, of course, I'm changing to focus mode, and I'm switching to my podcast focus mode, which will allow certain notifications through, like from people I podcast with, but not other people. And then it does things like set my lights, because, who doesn't want nice, fun lighting in the background? That's what HomeKit's for, or smart home stuff, whatever you're using. It's all fun. And then, and it also just, sends me an alert that says, okay, you have X amount of time until podcasting. Make sure that you have water, or some other kind of beverage. I've got Coke Zero here today, as well as a bottle of water, because it's always good. Oh, my coaster's stuck to stay hydrated. And it reminds me to do stupid things like every so often because I'm excited and I'm really into it. It's like, also, don't forget to go to the bathroom because you're going to be sitting
famous
there
for
for
that.
a while and you can't just run off.
Oh my God,
in the
I am
middle.
so famous for that. Like I'm excited, I run down, I forget to go to the bathroom, and in the middle of the podcast, I'm
Exactly.
like,
It happens to everybody, and it's like I'm a grown up. I shouldn't need a reminder for this, but you know what? It does not hurt to have it pop up a list of things like get water, get more water, make sure you've got a jumper available. Like I've got a sweater right here on the back of my chair just in case I get chilly.
I have
don't
I
think
have
I'm
my
gonna get
Woolly
chilly.
jumper over there. It's Manchester United jumper just to rub it in.
Yeah,
But you know what's
okay.
funny is you mentioned something that I think, okay, so in the Ecamm community, we're always telling people, especially a lot of our guys are new, like you and I are experienced podcasters, streamers, whatever. We're always telling people about building their checklist for their shows and their checklist for the guests. So it will be kind of cool if when I have my calendar set, okay, I know Rosemary's coming on at 8, even if I don't use an NFC tag or something like that, I can have a situation that when I get, say, 20 minutes prior to going live, I get a reminder, hey, actually check the checklist, because one of the things that we all do, we get cocky. I've been streaming forever. Let me forget to check the checklist. And
Yeah.
recently I did one where I have a wonderful guest on, Heather, Tom Buck's wife, and I accidentally sent my entire stream out in 720 because I forgot to switch back to my standard 4K stream. So we need to remember things in a checklist. So yeah, we should make an automation / shortcut, especially now that shortcuts are coming to the Mac, that says, boom, document pops up, right? And then it should almost be, there's no way to close that document until you've checked all the things. Stop the backup, drink some water,
All
take
right.
your butt to the
Well, I'm
bathroom.
going to get working on that app idea, because that app idea is a seller. You can't quit this app until you check everything off. I love it.
That's
But
genius.
actually, one of the things that I do is when I wake up in the morning, when I turn off my alarm, a shortcut runs, okay? Because shortcuts run throughout my day, okay? So there's a bunch of things that happen. It double checks to make sure that dark mode's no longer enabled. It adjusts some lighting. It starts playing some music throughout all my speakers, because I love having whole home music while I'm, waking up and getting ready. It prompts me like, okay, for breakfast you are planning on eating this, your first meeting is at this time, and so on. And it tells me, okay, you've got meetings at these times throughout the day. But then it also sets a reminder for a period of time before those meetings. So for my work meetings, it sets a reminder for 20 minutes before and 5 minutes before. And this is just using the standard reminders app. But then podcasting, it sets a reminder for half an hour before. And then it comes up with, reminders. Hey, you're podcasting with Doc Rock in 30 minutes. And I'm like, okay, actually, that should say streaming, but I haven't figured that out yet because, I'm mostly podcasting.
That's the same.
It's all good. The checklist was the same for today. And then it just chucks all those items that I need to do in a little sub list underneath. But then when I tap on my NFC tag later, all it's doing is going, hey, you've got a list of reminders. I'm going to pop you over to reminders and it's going to show you what you need to do. So I've tried to keep it super simple. But at the same time, I build in stuff here because otherwise I'm going to forget it. So I have automated blinds and curtains. I have smart fans. I've got a smart air purifier up there. You know what's going to sound really bad? If I'm here, if the window's open, if the blinds are coming down, if the curtains are closing, the fan is blasting, the air purifier is going zzzz, or things like that. And so what I do is I have an automation that, don't forget you need to close the office window. If it's open, it'll only tell me to close it if it's open. Like, this is the brilliant part of it. And then I close it, and it's like, oh, sunset's going to happen during your podcast, so I'm going to go ahead for you and close the curtains and the blinds right now. And then just before it starts, like, I've got a button that I press, and it's like, okay, these are getting the apps on your screen and in place. Also, I'm turning off your fan and your air purifier because you don't want those running. And it's
That's
like, perfect.
genius.
And then when I'm done, I press another button that says I've stopped. It quits all the apps. It turns those back on. Just because, why not?
That's genius. Because, a lot of streamers are told by other people, hey, just don't worry about big lights. Just post yourself up next to the window. And that's great if your show is 20 minutes. But after 20 minutes and you get some change, or thunderstorm rolls in, whatever, and then you just look horrible on screen. So, yeah, that's actually cool. Like, being able to have a situational awareness of whether it's daytime or nighttime, that's incredible, too. Like, knowing what to do in that particular thing. I've been thinking about picking up the automatic feeder, which is really funny because one of the last booths I went to at the last Macworld that ever existed was the people that was making Pet Cube, and now they have the automatic feeder. And then so I'm like, if my stream starts taking long, I need this thing to spit out some food for Osaka before he starts having the cow in the backyard. So it's like, because every once in a while, my partner Diane and I, or even hanging out with Keely and Rob, we end up on these 4 or 5 hour streams, and he's outside going, dude, I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm starving here.
So that'll be kind of cool if it could be like, okay, is this dummy still online? Let's put some kibble out so that the dog doesn't like curl over and croak.
Yeah. I mean, the dog's probably going to be fine if it's
he's
just an
fine.
hour or two, but at the same time,
he looks at me.
it's nice.
He knows his time, and if I come out late, normally he's excited when you come out. If I come out late, he actually has that look like,
finally.
I'm like, I think
humans.
he can talk.
You can do better
I think
than
he can
this.
talk. Dude, that was cool. I know, right, Matt? Wasn't that sad? I really miss Macworld. Macworld was so much fun, and oh my goodness, yes. Going around drinking with Brett and Merlin used to be the highlight of my Macworlds. So we would just go on our little
How did
pub
your liver
crawls.
survive that?
Yeah. It was good fun. And Brett's awesome. You think he's funny on the TV. In real life, he's even more funny. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Corey said that you're one smart cookie. I love the way she's
thank
using smart solutions for common sense stuff. Corey and Marie, I tell you what, here's one of the things. I think a lot of us originally got smart stuff just because it was cool. And then when you watch, if you watch Micah's and Rosemary's show, you start to realize there's things you can do with your smart stuff that a lot of folks weren't doing, right? So, for instance, in my house, I have my Philips set up. Hawaii, weather's beautiful, but when it decides to rain, it's rain. It's like it goes nuts, right? So I have mine set up that if the rain is going to be more than your typical daily showers, that the Philips will change one of the lights in my living room, so then I know. And then the other one that I do, which is kind of crazy, but sorry, Rosemary. Right before Red Sox games start, the one in my bedroom turns red to remind me that the game's coming on. And although I may not watch it, I'll hit the record button. My DVR thing what used to be able to send a message to the DVR from the phone, and then they changed it so it doesn't work anymore. So I used to be able to trigger it to automatically send that, but you can make it do things like if something happens, send out an email, or something of that nature.
Have you looked at something like the Broadlink for things like that? So for people who don't know off the top of their head what's a Broadlink, Broadlink basically is a little box which can record signals from a remote control and then send them back out. And then that means that you can add these devices into your smart home, which means that, for example, you've got an overhead fan on your ceiling and you've got a remote control to control it. You don't have to replace the fan. You don't have to do anything with wiring. You can buy one of these little boxes. I think they're like $20-$30. And then you can program that to send out the right signals for your fan and also your TV and things like that. And I actually use it. So I've got 2 remote controls here. I've actually got a third light, which I've yet to set up. And they've just got 3 buttons on it. I'll use the yellow because I think the contrast is a little higher. Okay, so there's an on-off button, and there's an up and a down. Okay, and if I press up, then that side of the screen is getting lighter because that's a light above my face. And I have something very similar. I'm using a SwitchBot hub. It's the little cloud right here behind me, actually. And that can do things like make my curtains integrate with my smart home properly instead of just via Bluetooth. But this can also send commands. So my next project is hooking it up to these lights. So whenever I podcast, it turns on those lights. So those lights illuminate my face properly. Because I'll just give people an example. If I turn these lights off, everything's suddenly very dark, especially on this side because my window's over here. My window, is open right now because it's 7:30. Sunset's not going to be for a while. But if I turn those lights on, you can see me properly. This also helps me stay a bit more awake because they're white lights. And I do usually use ambience lights in other places, but while I'm podcasting, I really want to be wide awake and ready for everything. So that's my next project. I've got to see if I can do that, but I'm pretty confident I'll make it work.
Yeah, I just found out recently that I accidentally kicked my slage. I don't know the right. Patrice will correct my schlog pronunciation, but it kicked my lock out of my Apple TV, so I couldn't remote open the door. Yeah, schlager, that's the right word. When I hear that, you know what I think of? I think of Goldschlager, which is like cinnamon liqueur with 24 karat gold floating in it. So. It kicked it out, and I was wondering why I couldn't let the UPS man in, and he always knows like I can normally open the door, and it was just really weird. But I was thinking I want to take my smart hub out of my Apple TV and just get a dedicated one for those cases where the update fails or it's in the middle of an update or something and someone's near the door, because I don't want to have to come all the way downstairs. And, or I'm all the way across the island, I'm at the beach. I just want to open the door real quick to let in the UPS man to drop off the package or something. Yeah. Because if you leave it outside, it will definitely not be there when you come back. So this is really cool. Yeah. So let me think. How could I guess what are some of the like daily function, like the everyone talks about I don't have enough time. What are some of your time saving automations?
It's not so much time saving, but just like smoothing out those little bumps in the road, right? Like that's one of the things where the bumps in the road are what throw you off your game. And so that means that everything then slows down and it feels like you're wading through syrup instead of just, gliding along as you should be. Though, of course, everybody should remember the duck metaphor. Ducks look like they're swimming perfectly, serenely, and smoothly. If you look under the water, they're pedaling like little crazy things. It's wonderful. So a lot of the things that I've got are related to that. So for example, when I turn my TV on, it automatically pauses audio playback from my HomePods, because if I'm watching TV, I don't want music, right? And things like that. So when I get up in the middle of the night, there's a light strip underneath my bed that turns on that just provides a little ambient lighting in the bedroom so I can see to get out the bedroom.
I have one of my Philips Hue. It's really faint, but it's just so if you wake up, you don't trip into something.
Exactly. Turns the light in the hallway onto the absolute dimmest possible setting. and then I can go to the bathroom or get a glass of water in the kitchen. Now, one of the things that I have found, unfortunately, my kitchen light is not dimmable, so I just got some battery stick-on lights to stick under the counters there, because that, that solved that problem. But a lot of what I do is, especially automations and very specifically shortcuts, is just pulling information out of my task list to show me at the right time. So for example, when I start work in the morning, it automatically opens up, I use OmniFocus for this, it opens my OmniFocus work perspective, and it shows me things there. And it makes sure that that's happening. I also, just because it gets put in front of my face, I also have a system set up wherever I star an email in my work Outlook, then it automatically gets added to Microsoft To Do. I need to figure out if I can get that into OmniFocus. If I can't, I'll live with it in Microsoft To Do. It's a widget on my home screen. But just making sure that stuff gets where I need to see it. Okay, so for example, I add things to my grocery list. I've got a very crazy shortcut for this, which I can try and explain to people, but I think for most people it's probably going to be, why on earth is she doing this? But basically, I add stuff using my HomePod to a shopping list, okay? So then when I go to the store, everything's in my shopping list. Except I don't use reminders to my shopping list. I have a shortcut, pull things out, and it looks, and if it knows, hey, you usually buy this thing at this specific store, then it adds it to that store's list, and otherwise it just adds it to a general shopping list. Because that way, when I go to the store, I can see the things that I need to buy that I can buy in any store and this specific store, and I can also see, oh, by the way, if it would be better if you went to that store because you've got 25 things from that specific store that you were really planning on getting. Yeah, it's useful for things like that. It's also useful.
See, I do the same thing with reminders. I used to have my reminders do basically just one giant list, and that wasn't working. And I was like, I've tried other to-do lists, and I keep coming back to reminders, which I don't like. But something about when I do my grocery list now, it's Target, it's Marukai. Marukai is a Japanese store. I cook a lot of Japanese food. There's Costco and Whole Foods. So you're saying I can set it up that if I say to go get Olympia provisions, sorry, Patrice, again, it's called Käsekleiner or something like that. It's basically cheese sausage that Olympia Provision makes. It's only Whole Foods. So if I told Siri that I need to go, sorry, lady, if I told that lady that I needed to go get Käsekleiner, like it would know to add it to the Whole Foods list and don't try to add it to the Target list?
Well, it's not doing that. So what I do is my HomePod, when I say add this to my shopping list, it just adds it to the reminders list called shopping list. Okay, but shopping list is basically like a list of things that need to be sorted out. And then there's a shortcut, and I'm running this automatically on, this is an iPod Touch, and you can see if I hold it in front of the camera, it says Automations Server. Okay, this is running a great utility called Pushcut, and basically this iPhone just sits here in the background processing shortcuts. So it will do things like send messages later for me, process my grocery list, and do things like that. And this is all just running other shortcuts that I have on a schedule or whenever stuff is, told to do it. So whenever something happens in Zapier, for example, I get given a project. Okay, that triggers off a whole bunch of things. It adds data to a database so I can see exactly where it is. And then it'll go, oh, hey, she doesn't have a project set up for that in OmniFocus. Hey, Pushcut Automation Server, here's some data, make it. And then my project gets made in my task manager. And it just happens automatically. Pushcut is a great tool for many things because it can just send you a notification for you to do it. Yeah, I love it. I can see there's some people in the chat room who are getting excited here.
Rob said he's crying softly into his iPad, which is hilarious. And then Corey Elmarie said, so basically the stuff she's automating is like the stuff that I grudgingly repeat daily and things that often hang me up. Let's keep Rosemary.
I mean, that's the thing, right? You've got to find the things that you do every single day. It doesn't matter if you like them or hate them. If you hate them, prioritize them. By all means, get rid of that first. But everything that you do every single day, and you're just like, yeah, I do this every single day. I'm doing this. automate it if you can. You know what I hate doing? Vacuuming. You know what I bought for my living room? Cream carpet. What was I thinking? So I bought a robot vacuum.
Yeah, I got my robot
now-
vacuum too.
Yeah. Robot vacuum is the best. Every day I finish my stand-up in the morning. That's my daily meeting. And where I talk to my entire team. So I finish that and I hit the start button on my robot vacuum. Okay, and so, you know, I could have it run automatically at a certain time, and for many people, you know, it's worth doing that sort of thing. But I actually just run it myself, and then when that finishes, I have a robot mop, which I then go and I press the start button on in my kitchen, and it goes around my kitchen. Then I pick it up and I take it to the bathroom. I press the go button and it runs around in the bathroom. My floors are clean. Now, it doesn't do as good a job as a human, okay?
No.
I absolutely acknowledge that. But you know what that means? I run it every single day because I paid for it once. It's going to run every day.
Yeah.
You know, it
I have
tools
my
back to
I have
its
my
own
robot
charging
mop
station.
too, and it's you're right. It doesn't do as good a job. You just run it more often because it's still
Yeah.
less work than me doing it. But the funny thing is where I suckered myself, and when I got my Roomba, I got the one that does random because the sale was impeccable. So I did it.
Yeah.
And what I should have did was screw the sale, bought the one that you can actually draw the pattern. Because now what I have to do when I know I'm going to run the Roomba, run around and pick a couple things up out of the way because it will either climb over them or get stuck on them, right? And
Or just straight up eat them. Yeah.
or straight up eat them. Right. So that became a problem. So now what I have to do is me having to move things out of the way for the Roomba actually makes me run it less. And so I am probably going to get rid of it soon and get the newer one where you can actually draw the pattern. Like it'll run your house. It shows up in the app. And then you can say, okay, ignore this area. I'll do that myself. Ignore this area. And if you're going to get a room and you don't have one, make sure you get the one that you can actually draw the pattern. Don't just get the bumper. The bumper is great. It does clean the floor well, but you'll find yourself manually moving things out of the way, and that's just dumb. It's not worth it.
There's some win, some lose some about this. So I found that because it's dumb, and I can't say don't go here unless I put down, like, you know, boxes, or it comes with boundary strips. At least mine does. So I've got the Eufy 30C Max. It's made
Anchor.
by
I say Anchor too because it's the same thing.
Yeah. It's the same company. It's all the same stuff. It's good stuff. You know, it is dumb, and so it'll just go anywhere. But at the same time, I love that it's dumb and it'll just go anywhere because it goes over something and it's like, I didn't quite get that piece of fluff, and then, you know, it goes back over it again because it's dumb. But I've previously had the Neato Bobback D70, and that can do mapping, and oh my gosh, that's great. It sends you push notifications. It's like, I'm stuck, and it sends you a little image of where it's stuck, and it's like, oh, you tried to eat the mat in the bathroom again. Oh, okay.
Melvin wants to know, do you have to carry your iPod Touch with you? Yeah, it
Yep.
shouldn't because it's cloud, right? So it can stay where
Yeah.
it
So
stays
this just
put.
sits here at home on my Wi-Fi. It's usually plugged in. I unplugged it for this because it's on a short cable. It just lives over there, basically. And every so often I check it and install updates, and that's it. But this just sits here. It's like the smallest iPod Touch I could buy. But if you've got like an old iPhone somewhere, then you can do that. The only things that you need installed on it are the PushCut app, shortcuts, and then whatever app you want to do automations with. So I personally use Drafts and OmniFocus very heavily in my automations. So those apps have to be installed on this device and synced to the same database. So you're going to need to use the same iCloud ID or sync service, whatever that is for your apps on that device. Because then, you know, it can actually access that, because then it can do things here, or it can send, you know, it can send you a notification to do other things. And I also like PushCut for home automation, because sometimes, you know, say for example, the sun's setting, okay? Do you want to turn on the lights in the living room or in the office? Well, you could turn both on with automation. If you figured the smart stuff out that much, then maybe you could say, oh, she's in the office, I'll turn on the office lights. Or you could just ask. But just asking with HomeKit, that's kind of tricky. But PushCut has the option to do that, and it can do it on the Apple Watch as well. So it'll send it, and you just tap it on the Apple Watch, and it turns on the right lights for you. Done. Like,
Okay,
I'm getting
so
home.
see, you just
Do wanna
brought
go
up
to
something.
the kitchen or the bedroom?
You just brought up something that's as my special use case. I know this is weird. Apple doesn't allow us to adjust the geofence manually, okay? So I'm in a very weird situation. Imagine, if you will, a city block, okay? And imagine, if you will, a condominium complex that takes up one whole half of a city block, right? So
Right.
like specifically I have one tower on the east corner, one tower on the west corner, okay? So I live in the east corner tower. My office is not quite in the west corner tower, but it's underneath the very edge of the west corner tower, right? So I live 16 up, right? But my office is in the basement. My home doesn't remember how to automatically switch between my house, which is Winterfell, and then my office, which is Westeros, because they're too close. It doesn't understand vertical, and I can't shrink the if I could shrink the geofence to say 200 feet or 300 feet, it would work because it's, a whole block, but I'm like halfway down the block underneath. And so I can't get it to switch into the right location. Is there a push notification, push cart, or something of that nature?
Yeah.
Push cut that would help.
There's a couple of different things that you could do, but my first question is, are you using the same Wi-Fi network in both locations, the same Wi-Fi SSID and password?
No. God,
Okay,
no. That would be bad.
because that was gonna be my first like troubleshooting for this.
Yeah.
If you're using the same
It's way too
Wi-Fi,
far away to do the same Wi-Fi.
No,
I mean, I
it's
guess
just
I
if you
could
had
because I have
exactly
Unify.
the same network name and password, then that could be tricking the device into thinking it's in the same location. But what I would personally do for your situation here is I get a couple of NFC tags and stick them in logical places. And then I just have those run the scenes that you need to run in that home when you tap your phone on them. Because that way you can just, bam, and it's doing stuff in that specific home, because the action, which I'm just gonna pop open a new shortcut over here.
Can you say when you smell this Wi-Fi switch to this home, when you smell this Wi-Fi switch to this home?
I don't think so right now. Let's have a look. Oh, interesting. Shortcuts is having a moment, or rather, Ecamm. There we go. Perfect.
Hey, don't blame Ecamm.
No. Ecamm's perfect. This was, I think, Shortcuts having fun. So if we look for home here in Shortcuts, then you'll see I've got two homes. And there's get state and control. And all this can do is either grab the status of something. So like, for example, tell me if this light behind me is on or off, or, whether or not, the light levels are up, or if the motion sensor detects motion, or it can control something. And so that means that then I can, turn on one of these 80 million scenes or set movie time, things like that. But if I just close that out and pop into automations, and create a personal automation here, then you can say when my phone joins this particular Wi-Fi. And you can see here, there's all of the different Wi-Fi networks I've ever joined. So I'm just going to pick Mozilla Guest from when I was visiting the lovely folks at Mozilla. But then you've still got the same options available to you here. So if I look for home, I can still only control and get the status of things. And there's another slight flaw. There's something missing on the screen. Matthew Casanelli knows what it is, and he's shouting at his screen, just get rid of this option. And I'm just going to open this one here. It's this ask before running. Okay, and ask before running is a great shortcuts automation trick. Okay, if it's enabled, then every time this automation is supposed to run, it's going to pop up and go, do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? And you go, yeah, of course I want to do it. It's an automation. I set this up. If you can turn ask before running off, then it's not going to go, do you want to do it? It's going to go, I'm doing the thing. And it's like, yes, this is what I'm here for. This is why I love automation. You've done the thing and I'm happy about it. But no, instead it's, you can't do that with Wi-Fi specifically, which is a real shame. So just switching to a Wi-Fi network is unfortunately not going to do the trick for you there. I think your best bet is either going to be sticking a couple of buttons around for people who are looking for a HomeKit accessories like buttons and motion sensors. I really recommend the Aquara stuff, AQARA. It's insanely cheap for, compared to everything else, and also teeny tiny. You know, things like the motion sensors, I should have grabbed one and brought it in, but it's like an inch tall, maybe. It's so small, and I love their stuff. It's very good. Yeah, if you can get buttons from these companies, and then you can just stick it in the right place and hit the button, and stuff happens. Because one of the things I feel, especially home automation wise, a lot of people think it's all about voice control and how voice control is amazing and wonderful. Voice control is amazing and wonderful, but you know what's actually magical? When stuff just happens. You walk into a room and the lights turn on, but they only turn on a little bit because it's dim outside. Okay, but it's not dark
smart.
yet, so you don't need all the lights on. You just need some lights on. Well, you can do that by doing things like checking your light levels and so on and so forth. But that's where you need to spend a little bit of time playing with these things, because the light level number in one room is not going to be the same as the number in another room for you to think it's dark enough for you to need the lights on. But there's so much good stuff out there, but really the trick is making stuff happen entirely automatically, or just by having a button or something on your Stream Deck. There's a great application, by the way, for the Mac. If people have got a Stream Deck, and I'm going to struggle to show mine because it's got a very short cable and it's wrapped around my desk thing. But this is my Stream Deck right now showing this. And you can see it's got some buttons over here for, you know, controlling like light levels and stuff like that. If you want to do more of that, either you can use like Hue or Nanoleaf, or there's Home Controller, which is in the Mac App Store. And then you can copy the URLs to run stuff, and you can just hit the button and it'll do things for you magically. So it'll turn on this light or that light or whatever. And it just makes it much easier, because then, especially if you're podcasting or sitting in a meeting, you can just hit a button and stuff happens. And you don't need to like get up and go and do the thing, or get out your phone and, oh, I've got a notification, and oh, Doc Rock's having a live stream, gotta watch that. Things like that. You don't get sidetracked by all of these other things, because I find that's what makes me unproductive, right? Not having an easy way to just do the things that need to be done without going squirrel or rabbit hole or whatever it is that causes the problem. So, you know, it's nice to have the automations that you actually need for these things. And Rob is saying he likes magic, but he likes donuts too. I get distracted by donuts all the time. That's
You didn't
why
even know,
I
Rob.
have
Donuts is my life.
automations.
First of
Yeah,
all,
I have
Mizomi
automations.
Photography, 本当におはようございます and Mizomi Photography says, trying to find a way to protect my camera gear when shooting on location. Is there a way to set up an air tag in my camera bag to set off an alarm if it gets too far from my phone? You know,
Yes.
I was just looking at this days ago, because I'm about to do a bunch of speaking gigs and I'm going to be traveling, and I just put my air tags in my camera bag before I forget and leave it here. And then I just added another one to my car key, because my car key fell underneath my seat and I couldn't find it. And it was like, where'd my key go? So yeah.
Yeah, you can if you're running iOS 15. Okay, so this, if you're not running iOS 15 yet, that means you're not a developer, and so you can't run it yet, or you're risk averse and you're not running it. But there will be a public beta soon, and one of the options there is to turn on a location notification when things are left behind. Now I'm just going to open up Find My, and I'll make sure I get into the right section first, because otherwise it's going to show everybody
I
exactly
want you
where
guys to know that I'm looking down because I'm doing mine at the same time she's telling me what to do.
Okay, well, I've got it up here on my screen so people can see it now. Okay, and if we look here, so this is iOS 15 specifically. So if you're not running iOS 15, you won't see this. Okay, under notifications, there's notify when left behind, except at one location. I'm just gonna swipe that away, because otherwise it's gonna show everybody exactly where I live. But you can turn this on. You can add multiple locations. So if you don't want to be notified when you leave things at your office, for example, then you can do that. But you can just have that for a specific device. So that means that, you know, if you don't care if you leave your work bag at the office, then you can then you can add a location notification exception for that. But otherwise, this has been working incredibly well for me. I am so impressed. Like, I left my house keys in my car, when I went to visit my parents this weekend. And I parked just down the road, and so I got out of my car, walked off to my parents' place, and it's like, hey, you left your house keys behind. And I'm like, it's like, I don't know, 20 feet away? Like, you left your house keys behind, but it never tells me when I'm at home, because I'm at home. I don't care if I leave something at home. But for things that you do care when you leave it at home, you can totally add a notification for that in iOS 15. Yeah.
And 300
Gotta-
feet
gotta
is
do
the radius. I'm assuming they selected 300 feet is the radius due to Wi-Fi.
Bluetooth.
Oh, Bluetooth. That
Yeah,
was smart,
it's a
smart
combination
answer.
of Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. But yeah, I think that's going to do the trick. Hopefully for a lot of people. I know for me, I always leave my keys somewhere. Like they fall out of my bag or something like that. I've attached huge Disney lanyards to them, all sorts of things.
Oh,
But the
do
only
not
thing that's
say that. You
worked-
just perked up Rob's ears some more.
Man.
Now Rob's blog is the Disney blog. So you just made Rob find magic, donuts,
Disney.
and a Disney reference, and Kevin
I
Cox
used
also.
to work for Disney. I used to
Shut
work for
that
Disney.
explains everything. Shut the front door. See, I thought it was just nice because you were British, but now you're British and Disney. It explains everything 100%.
Yeah, I worked at Disneyland Paris and on Disney Cruise Lines for a bit. So yeah,
Oh,
Disney
that's
lanyards, they are the secret sauce for being less likely to lose your keys anyway, because they are big, they're bright, and they're pretty sturdy as well.
Izumi Photography, I didn't put it on my camera なんですけども、三脚もso I stuck it to my tripod. So I have on the very bottom of my tripod, you know, where the thing comes down, there's a little piece. So I took the rubber attachment. Where's that little bag? I have a bag of the rubber, you know, like AirTags thingies I got from Amazon. And then
Oh, yeah.
there's the weight hook on the bottom of the tripod that's designed so you can put a sandbag. I stuck the AirTag there. So normally if I'm out and about, my tripod and my camera are twins. So, 三脚でもう聞いてる。それがいいかも。So, never mind. Stop speak English, damn it. Oh God, here we go. The
I'm
Disney
afraid my
Army is
Japanese
coming out.
non-existent.
So for basic home automation, Melvin, one of the things that you're gonna need is a hub of some sort. Now, most of us use HomeKit. I have a combination of both. I have HomeKit and Amazon Kit, and Google. I have all of the above actually because I have Nest, right, for my smoke detectors and my water detectors because it's Hawaii. We don't really use Nest for heating because heat, what the hell is that? We don't use heat. We only have air conditioning. And most of them don't like air condition only systems. They prefer, you know, the HVAC, right? Most of them aren't designed for air condition only places. Yeah. So I have it for my smoke detectors, which are great because sometimes I'm, you know, cooking something in the house and I know it's going to become smoky. I can tell OKG, I won't say it because she always interrupts my streams, and I say, hey, tell Nest to ignore me, I'm cooking, and then they just like ignore the smoke for a minute. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Then I have A Lady, when I walk in the house, I say, A Lady, I'm home, and then she automatically turns on the lights, turns on the TV, turns on the Xbox, which is controlling the TV, and pops it on to the news. But I want to switch that because I just got a bunch of little baseballs, cute soundy baseballs. And so I want to switch those to become in charge now. So I probably want a separate HomeKit hub because the HomeKit hub is built into my Apple TV at the moment. Yeah. But I do have this iMac 2009 back here is getting replaced by a purple 24 M1. So this guy can go upstairs and just become a HomeKit controller, or I'll probably buy a smaller something because it uses less energy.
Yeah. So
I think I
it
covered
really
them all.
depends on you know what devices you have. If you're all in on iPhone, iPad, Macs, and so on, you've probably already got an Apple TV, already got HomePods or HomePod Minis. Apple TVs, HomePods, HomePod Minis are all HomeKit hubs, which you know means that stuff can happen automatically. I'm going to use the word automagically because I like it.
I love that word.
When you're not there.
That's
and,
my
You know,
word.
stuff just works, okay? But you're going to need something. And then, honestly, it really depends. Like, have a look at the things that you use, but they're inconvenient right now. So that might be, like, you've got a lamp, but the plug's really difficult to get to. And, like, turning it on and off is a pain because you sit on the other side of the room, but you want it on. Okay, well, that is a perfect candidate for either a smart bulb if you're going to leave the lamp on all the time, or a smart plug if you want to just flip it on and off. You know, things like that. And things for me, one of my favorite smart home things, which makes everything worth it, is a button by my bed. When I get into bed to go to bed, to go to sleep, I hit the button and it goes through and it checks everything. It lights up a light in my bedroom red if any of my doors are unlocked, because, you know, I should go lock those. One of them is a multi-point lock, so you have to lift the handle for it to lock, and then the smart lock takes over and does its thing. So it turns a light red if anything, is unlocked. But other than that, it turns off things like my dehumidifier, it turns off fans in other rooms, it turns off all of the lights everywhere, and it pauses my music, and it sets heating to a lower level, and things like that. And that is the really great option. And I think I just spied the name Alex Cox, and if I know that Alex, hi Alex. If I don't know you, hi Alex, because Alex Cox is an awesome name.
Kathy says that you are a Disney princess.
Well, Kathy's wonderful.
Completely makes sense. And Kathy, the unicorn hat is like worth 600 points. Like out of the gate, so you're square. I wanted to make sure that I went back and told Miss Diana, that's my partner in crime over here, that she told us we can set up automations to stop our other partner in crime, David, from calling us when we're live. He famously calls us when we're live. So now we can set an automation that makes it so that he get blocked while we're live. And
iOS 15 focus mode. Create a focus mode for streaming and just block him. Don't block anybody else, just block him.
Yeah, we'll just block him. I don't know how he does it, because he knows what time we go live, but that dude will always call when we're live, and then he'll be laughing in the background. And I'm like, you know what, dude? So I think that's a cool like automation trick. Man, there's so much things you can do. I guess it becomes okay, let me back this up. Let me fix my face. When I first started playing around with it, I did all the simpleton stuff just because it was cool. Then I went into some of the galleries and I did some of the stuff that was just in there. But they're super kind of sort of rudimentary. Micah and you were talking about an app that adds some extensibility, but also gives you a better idea of what's out there. So I forgot what that was called. So I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write it down because you're here.
Yeah, you're good. I'm just making sure I can get this open on my phone. Okay, so all the apps that I've got installed, I've got loads of stuff I've got installed. And also, for anybody interested in finding more about shortcuts, and specifically like shortcuts enhancement applications, Micah and I are going to do an episode of iOS Today on that, at least a couple of weeks' time, possibly a month or so. But there's this great application. It's right here. It's called Toolbox Pro. And Toolbox Pro is basically a toolbox for pros using shortcuts. But if you think I'm not a pro, forget it. You are, because you're watching the stream. Okay, so there's so many great actions in here. Like, for example, adding tracks to playlists. That's something you can't do with the music app. But how often do you think, hey, I want to Shazam what's currently playing, and then I want to add it to a playlist because I'm loving this? Well, you can do that. And you can also check if an application is installed. And this is really useful, especially with shortcuts coming to the Mac, okay? So think about this, okay? You've got this great app on your iPhone, but you don't have it on your Mac. But you want to run the same shortcut on your iPhone or your Mac. It's just if you're running it on your Mac, you don't want to do this action. Well, you can check whether or not the app is installed. To do that. There's also creating a calendar. So you can create calendar events in iOS with some missing details. That's what this create calendar event is for, but you can also create a calendar. So say, for example, one of your frequent new project tasks is to create a calendar for that project, which has all of the things related to that project in. Maybe that calendar is even shared with other people. Well, you can create a calendar as part of this. You can create icons. If you want a custom home screen with all the fancy icons, you can create loads of icons. You can blur images, you can check what the device language is, you can edit notifications for things, find emojis, find TV shows. Oh my gosh, so many things. You can even like convert colors from hex codes and vice versa. You can even do things like get the what 3 words address. And for people not familiar with what 3 words, it's divided the entire globe into like 3-meter grids, and every single grid square has got 3 words assigned to it. And the brilliance of this is then you can tell the emergency services, if you need to call them, exactly where you are. It's not like I'm on this street, which, you know, streets are long, or I'm in this zip code. Well, how big is a zip code? In some cases, it's teeny tiny, at least some places here in the UK. In other cases, it's humongous. It doesn't really help. So, you know, getting things like a what 3 words address is a super useful trick there. For things like that. You can also do things like check if dark mode is on, if silent mode is on, if the sun is up. How often do you need to check that in a smart shortcut? Like, that's one of the things that I do when I'm doing podcasting shortcuts. Is the sun up? Oh, okay, the sun's not up. We'll make sure that everything is set up for podcasting in the dark, please. There's also silly things, like seemingly silly but useful, pluralized word. You know, what about foot? You can't just stick an S on the end of it. You have to change it to feet.
I say foots.
Speaking of, I mean, you can say foots if you like. But speaking of that particular pluralization, I love it because I was teaching kids about plurals. They were really new to learning English. And so we'd had foot and feet. And then we went fish and fish. And then I said, okay, what about sheep? And I drew sheep on the board so everybody knew what they were. And one girl just said, shoop. And I was like, oh, that is the perfect singular form of sheep. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. But yeah, so Toolbox Pro's got great things in it. You can create scan QR codes and images. So if you've saved an image to your phone or taken a photo of something and it's like, I needed to scan the QR code in that. What do I do? Like, I now need to put this somewhere else so I can scan it. No. Toolbox Pro, scan QR code and image, done. Shuffling lists, all sorts of things. You can do so much with it. Just make shortcuts even better. And
that's cool.
That's
the scan QR code in an image is freaking the bomb, because that happens so often. I'm out and about, I see something, take a picture, and then I can't see the little thingy on the bottom. So I'm like, yo, I want to scan this. And so what I do, airdrop it to the computer, and then or airdrop it to the iPad and then scan it. And that's just a waste of energy. So
Complete
that
waste
is
of time.
That is cool.
Waste of time. Just use Toolbox Pro, scan QR code in image, and celebrate the time saved.
Man, this is super, super cool. So, guys, first of all, I put in the chat, Rosemary has a book, Take Control of Shortcuts, so you can get that to get your speed up to with, you know, starting to learn some of the basics. Again,
I am doing a version 2 of that book. I should.
Oh, you have to now that it's going to the Mac. I kind of figured that was automatic. The podcast on Relay FM is called The Automators. I will give you guys the link to that right now. You guys know I don't type fast, so hold on.
I can say it while you type. It's relay.fm/automators.
Okay, and then so that's that. You guys also can check out the Nested Folders podcast. You know how I got into all of this stuff. This is so funny. It's like kind of sort of full circle. A long time ago, it was right after the web blew up and was starting to come back. I was like, I need a way to get a handle on the amount of files that I'm creating, because my graphic design, you know, bill was just getting nuts. And Merlin was on like episode 3 of 43 folders. And from listening to him, I was like, man, I've been using Mac and Apple scripts and all this other stuff forever, doing things with the original Automator. And I'm like, but it's just kind of, again, just been duct taping things here and there. Like I wrote an Apple script to change scenes in Ecamm before I figured out that you can just stick them in the folder and then put a transparent timer and they will just cycle by themselves. Mm-hmm. And so I literally sat in there, you know, tell this application, come to the focus, press this key, you know, and then go to the next, delay. It was kooky, right? So when I see nested folders, I'm like, oh, it just gives me the flashbacks and the feels of way back in 43 folders day, like circa 2006 or 7 or whatever the heck
that
it was.
That was totally what we wanted to invoke, because Scotty and I are both GTD geeks, but at the same time, we don't want to shove that down people's throats. So it's kind of a joke for people who remember it.
See, you made me remember. I forgot. It was actually David Allen's book That was that. And then I was doing a Google search on something, and then I found Merlin. I was like, that dude's a crackhead. He's my spirit animal. I'm with him. I'm there.
Yeah.
And so, okay, now that makes sense. That makes, so very cool.
Yeah.
And then the last one, gang, well, actually, you guys could just go to Rosemary's site and look all these links up yourself because it's easier. But I used to do the OmniFocus thing back when I was writing for TUAW, and then I got away from it when I was into my woodworking game, and I just never went back. But yeah, now Evie got me stuck on ClickUp, so I'm using ClickUp. But I guarantee you, sometimes you can look at something like, Rosemary's information in OmniFocus and be like, okay, how can I recapitulate this to work with Trello or ClickUp or whatever? So some of the features won't be exact, but you get an idea of deal flow, as I call it. You get an idea of process. That's for you, Keely. It's process.
It's called build your OmniFocus workflow for a reason, right? It's about, getting
it's
your
about the flow.
workflow set up so that you actually get stuff done. Because at the end of the day, it's all about actually not just being productive, but feeling good about what you've accomplished by being able to know what it is that you've still got left to do, and also looking back and seeing what you've done. Because being able to look back and go, hey, actually, I feel like today was incredibly unproductive, but I have these 25 things checked off of my checklist because I did all of that. Even better, if 20 of them were automated, then you can just sit around drinking a nice glass of something while things like the robot vacuum and the robot mop and the dishwasher and the washing machine and the tumble dryer all do all the hard work, and you're just sitting there enjoying something and reading a book.
So, it's funny you mentioned that, because I think one thing that we do to ourselves is we get so busy sometimes we don't realize how much we accomplished. So for me, that's why I have day one be like, look, dude, go in here and write all these things down. Because I was slogging using, a combination of breadsticks and IFTT, which I've now switched to Zapier just because I look at my day one and I'm like, holy crap, I did all of that today. I don't remember doing all of that today, because when you get in flow, you don't remember you did all of these things, right? So one of the cool things is not just having your automations tell you when to do things, but it's also logging those things so that you can look at it and see where you've gone. Because another thing that's great is when you get on this day in so-and-so such and which, day one pulls that up, right? So I guess Rosemary showed me now there's a shortcut to say, what was I doing, a year ago today? You could take that shortcut and modify it, because I've been using day one since whenever. I could actually set it to 10 years ago, and it would be like, 10 years ago today you did X. 5 years ago you did X, because I have literally been using day one that long. So what that does for me, and I mention this to my class all the time when we talk about journaling, I love to look at my old journals and see what I was freaking out about. Yeah, I know England won. Shut up. I like to see what I was freaking out or what was bothering me, because then I realize I overcame it. And a lot of times that helps me adjust to what is the current obstacle here, right? Because maybe I'm starting to get into my old ways of being afraid of an obstacle or being scared of something, whatever. So sometimes going back and seeing what it was that you've overcome reminds you to open your cape out, put your chest, and be like, chung, chicka, chung, get out of my way, obstacle. I am unstoppable. And it's helpful. So that's what I like about journaling and journaling with day one and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to dive in some more. Guys, also make sure you check out iOS Today. I meant to copy the link for the exact episode, but it was like 2 episodes ago to go and find the one.
I think it was even just last Friday.
Was it last Friday?
I think it was.
It could be.
I might.
I live in a time blur, so.
Yeah, what is time? Yes, It was last Friday.
Okay,
so it was
so
episode 555 of iOS Today. Automate your apps with Siri shortcuts.
Holy crap, 555? That's crazy.
I know, right?
Right? I mean, I remember way back in it. Oh, here we go. See, here we go. I mentioned your name and then you pop up. We figured out how to set an automator. Rosemary told us, so that you can't call us when we're live. You have been officially sent to the Orchid, Mr. Blackman. So yes, make sure you guys check that. I'm trying to pull the link up right now. It is extremely eye-opening when Rob, stop it. You know you're distracting me when I'm trying to be a professional here. We have guests, Disney princess Rosemary came to visit us. Can you behave yourself? Wait, I've got the link. Behave, Rob. I can see you out the corner of my eye. There we go. Automate your apps and shortcuts. Dark Notes and Draft. You know, I was on Drafts for a minute. See, here's my problem. When you're a tech writer, and you know this, you try all the things and you switch back and forth and you go crazy. So I was all about Drafts. I was way deep into Drafts. And then, Bear came out. And then I was like, oh, I love the Bear interface. So I wrote Bear for like 2 years. And then I was like, you know what? All of these things I could just do directly in day one. Although it's not really purely text format, I can make it spit out text format when I need it, right?
Yeah.
I'm an old school Brett Terpstra MV alt guy. So I like everything to be raw text file. Don't touch anything. Let me write in Markdown. Leave my life alone because I can always move it here and fro. But then Bear did something and whatever, and I got mad at them and I told them to go away. So I do most of it in day one, but I kind of, now my day one's full of random
Have
things.
you considered something like Obsidian? And I say that
I'm
because
on
Obsidian is a fancy
Notion
markdown
right now.
editor that sits on a folder of files. And they're just markdown files behind it. I use Drafts for so much stuff, but I also use Obsidian for a lot of things as well, just because it can do things like a fancy Kanban view where it's basically pulling up a list of your notes and sorting them for you, and then it displays them.
Okay,
but
I'm
you
gonna
don't
be
have
mean.
to use plugins like that.
I'm going to be
You can
mean to
just
you, Rosemary. It's
text.
Kanban. Sorry, I'm a Japanese major.
I'm sorry. That's okay.
I drive Kat crazy with that Kat Mulvihill because she's our Notion queen around here, and I got her now to where she
great.
says it correctly, and so I'm always getting after people for Kanban and karaoke because it's karaoke, because you don't send your kids to karaoke, it's karate. So
All right.
it's empty hand, empty orchestra, exactly what it means. But yeah, so I do like, you know, that, and I've been, now that the iPad has become my notebook, I have been considering going back to Drafts. Because Drafts was just great. In a way, it was its simplicity that made it better, right? Sometimes when your app has a bunch of other things, you start wanting to do all kind of myriad things. And what was dope about Drafts back in the day was send to Evernote, send to this, send to that. And I guess at that time, I was heavily Evernote, OmniFocus. And yeah, so I was just sending things sort of around and about. So Drafts looks cool. I might go back into that. I was on Ulysses
It's still got
for a
all
little
of that
bit.
stuff. It's also got the option to use things like tags and workspaces so that you can just look for specific things with a specific tag. And when you open, say, for example, I don't know, your streaming ID or its workspace, then it'll switch to a specific group so that you can be like, okay, I want to send this by email to this person because they've said they'll come on the stream, so I want to send them the checklist and the link and everything so that they're ready for it and stuff like that, which is really useful.
So that's what I want to do is I want to
love it.
automate that process a little bit more. I have it, you know, kind of hoked together, but I think I need to automate that process a little bit more, including things like once somebody accepts, automatically remind me at that point or put a task in a list somewhere to make all of the thumbnails, you know, for the stream, you know, get the headshot, which I did. I make them, but sometimes like, oh crap, I forgot to make that. Oh, I need to make a Twitter version. I need to make an IG version because I like to use the exact right sizes. And yeah, so I think from the moment someone sends me the Calendly that says they're good, I need to have something that checks Zapier that tells me, okay, now go make the thumbnails, put the post on, you know, YouTube and things like that. So that will be some of the stuff that we want to automate. And now I'm excited to dive in and go in and
You
just
could
tighten up
definitely
all
do
the
that.
weaves. It's so cool,
You
man.
can definitely do that.
Thank you for coming through and being here today. It was super awesome. You're just a rock star. My crew. Somebody said back in the minute that I thought Doc was smart, but then now we know that Rosemary knows everything. So thanks for ruining my
I certainly
reputation.
do not know everything,
Damn it.
but my favorite thing is let me Google that. because
Yeah,
I can figure a lot of things out with a little bit of help. And I think everybody really is that person deep down. They just don't have the confidence in themselves.
Thank you. I
to do
say that always. Let me Google that. Like, I just Google all the things. Matt, while you're over here ducking, Matt, so just go ahead and slide into the IG and tell me what day you want to come on, Tuesday, Saturday. I'm going to Calendly you right now, Matt. So you got to come back. And then after we get Matt on the show, then we got to sucker Micah into coming in. And then we will have covered the whole triumvirate. Well, I guess we need Scotty too then. So
get Scotty, maybe Kathy. I mean, she's lurking there in the chat room, but she's a real unicorn, and I say that meaning like personality wise as well as it's her job.
Kathy, you guys can
Alex
come
Cox.
on anytime. Like anytime, we'll be so stoked to have you. My crew is very fun. Yeah, as Ecamm, we could get 5 of us on this joint. Let's go. Let's turn it into a whole brain melting party. The mega stream. Way to go,
Sounds like
Matt.
fun. I'll bring cocktails.
Yeah, yes. Oh, you don't even know. In this cabinet right here are all of my beverages. So, yeah. Oh, I just made me think of something. Make a Airtable database of the cocktails that I make, and then I'll just tell Siri or Alexa or one of them people, hey, I'm going to make such and such cocktail, and they will spit back out the ingredients to me in a, like,
I
yeah.
do that in the winter with my porridge recipe because it tells me what ratio of oats to porridge I need, and it just pulls that information up for me.
Have you ever tried Japanese style porridge?
No, I have not, but it sounds like something I probably should try.
Oh my goodness. I am going to teach you. And so what's really cool is it's literally just a rice porridge, right? But you can adjust flavors by what you use as your base level stock. And then what you do is you eat it with small little vegetables or small little pickles that you add to give it that extra je ne sais quoi. So what I do is I make it and then I go raid the refrigerator for leftover things. And so it's the rice porridge, a tiny little bit of meat, a bunch of leftover vegetables, and then some pickles, and I turn it thing. So we have that for breakfast in Japan.
It's never occurred to me to have savory porridge before. For me, it's always with like golden syrup or brown sugar. Golden syrup's traditional with pancakes.
It's
and,
so
golden
good.
syrup and porridge over here in the UK. I'm saying words because somebody just asked where I'm from, so I'm from the UK, but my accent is all over the place, so I'm not surprised if anybody did not place me
No,
there.
Dave was just mental because that was obvious. I'm teasing. Right. See, Mizomi Photography knows. We. Oh my goodness. So like some people call it juk, some people call it kanji. That's kind of the Chinese style name, right? Oh, but we call it okayu, and I say we. I lived in Japan for like a year, and I'm fully Japanese. So, but it is literally one of the most awesome things, especially when you're having my soul is ruined day. You go make yourself that porridge and your soul just goes, "Hala, let's go. You can do this." It's very good. Also helpful when you're sick to use chicken stock to bring it to life. Thank you. Yes, Obsidian is what Evernote could be. Okay, now I'm in. I have been seeing it, from Ali Abdal and a couple of other people, but I was like, I'm in Notion right now. I didn't want to check something else, but I eventually left Evernote because Evernote was just starting to be a punk and they wouldn't let you take things out, right? I was so in love with Evernote, got the scanner, got all of the things. Like I was deep Evernote phenom. And then I realized one day I couldn't get stuff out. And so just like a month ago, Rob was on his way to Disney and I wanted to send him a packing list that I put in Evernote like eons ago. And it was a fight. I was like, Evernote, I will pull your trunk right off. Give me my damn list back.
Yeah. So there's a couple of people I want to recommend who've done stuff about Obsidian. And I know Christopher Lawley uses it. I can't remember if he's done it in a video somewhere, but I know Curtis McHale has. And Christopher Lawley's also done some stuff about drafts. So people can definitely find some sources there. But I love the fact that Obsidian basically just sits on a folder of markdown files. And then, you can sync those with iCloud, you can sync them with Dropbox, you can sync them with Obsidian's sync service if you want to do that. You can use whatever you like. And the iPad app is pretty amazing because it's got all the same plugins in as the Mac version. It doesn't feel like an iPad app, but at the same time, it feels like Obsidian. So I'm pretty happy with that.
That is cool. Okay, gang. So we're in there. First of all, don't forget we got stream coming up on Saturday. I don't have a guest book for Saturday, but I'm booking for most of July. Also, I want to remind you guys real quick, if you get an opportunity to, let me pull up the sites before I forget because I'm really bad. Okay, People of Video and Leap in the live stream. Okay, so we're doing these cool conferences coming up soon. We have our Leap into live stream conference, and then we also have our what is the word? I'm doing a People of Video conference. So let me pop these in real quick just to show people. So this is the last year's version of Leap in the live stream, but the new version is coming very soon. It will be in September, so we'll be making an announcement extremely shortly, probably like within the next week or so. But if you guys are paying attention in the Ecamm group, of course, you'll know we already have, chances for you to book your sessions, but I'll be speaking at this. So is Stephanie, of course. It's an Ecamm event. So, yeah, we'll send you guys the links to make sure you guys can all come to check out Leaped in the Live. And then in October in Albany, New York, I'll be speaking at People of Video with Miss Diana Gladney. And she is right down here in the bottom, as we say in the UK. So this is going to be awesome. Guys, Secret Squirrel Sauce, if you want to come to this event, click on this guy, buy your ticket, and use the code LGLFAM. Let's get live, fam. LGLFAM. You can save 50% off on your tickets, and it is going to be rad. So far, maybe like 8 people from the family is going to converge on Albany. We're all going to take over. So book your tickets. Book your hotel room, get bail money because we're going to be in the same place for the first time ever. So make sure you have your attorneys on speed dial. Make an automation that says, if my hands get locked in cuffs, automatically call, whoever your attorney is. Oh, Gigi's our attorney, so she'll get us out of jail. Wait, she's going to be with us. She'll be in jail. Like our attorney will be in jail with us. So, so Gigi, we know what you meant.
I'm sure she knows people, right?
Yeah, I hope
That's how
so.
this works.
I hope so. I'm sure most of the people there are probably scared of her because she looked like she kicked some butt. So, all right, then Rob said, get your travel insurance. So, yes. No, LGL fam is no relation to LMFAO. Party rockers in the house tonight. Why'd you do that? John, everyone knows that Doc has musical Tourette's. You cannot do that to me. I will sing anything that I hear within seconds of hearing it. It is a horrible problem. I've had musical Tourette's, 36 years of being a DJ. Yeah, it happens. Okay, so, and then Matt, this message is for you. I'm sending it, Matt. This is the link. That is the Calendly link. Just click the button now, Matt. Get it in, book it. You have no excuses. You're here. You're caught. Everybody's watching you. So...
It's all right. I'll chase him by messages later if he doesn't say yes.
Diana says that the tickets increase after tomorrow, so get them now. Make sure, guys, if you are going to come to that conference. And yes, definitely, Rosemary, if you will be down, I would love to do like a panel because it will be fun. Our crew, they just love this kind of stuff. Any Tuesday or Saturday is fine, and it doesn't have to be. I mean, like I can adjust things accordingly. As long as it doesn't bump into one of the Ecamm streams, we're good to go. But yeah, I mean, you've been fantastic. You're super awesome. And yeah, what can we say? You made Kathy, you click it too. Don't try to blame it on Matt. You click that button too. John is getting me.
Unicorns must click.
I always say this too. Every day I'm buffering. I always say that. That is super
as long as I don't start singing supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, I think you'll be all right.
No, I got that one. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. If you know the sound of it, it's something quite atrocious. Wait, that's not it. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Okay, we're gonna do the hip hop and trap version of the Mary Poppins. Oh my God. You guys are killing me. LGL fam, please give a wonderful round of applause for Miss Rosemary Orchard. You gotta have one of the coolest names in the planet. And although it's not an orchard, it's called a farm. I've actually been to one of the largest rosemary farms in the planet in a place called Santa Ynez, California, where the bushes are so big around you can't hug them, but that entire area smells freaking awesome. That's seriously one of my favorite things.
I'm gonna have to go there.
Oh my god! Well, it's wine country, so if you drink wine, you're just in there. If you watch the movie Sideways, where it's Paul Giamatti, and they're doing something about the California wine industry, that was filmed there. And my buddy makes wine. He's from Hawaii, but he runs one of the larger vineyards there, and it's called Beckman's Vineyard. Beckman was one of the guys that brought the rolling keyboard and some of the synthesizer stuff to the U.S. Tom Beckman, then he retired from the music industry, bought a vineyard, and so my buddy who's from here actually runs the vineyard for him. And every time we go, it's a blast. It's such a cool place that you go as a tourist, right? And so you're standing around the vineyard, you're watching them work, and they need something. Hey, can you grab that shovel and bring? And you're like, what? And so they will put you to work while you're on vacation. And then next thing you know, you're in the farm half the day doing stuff, which is dope. It's the best way to learn. And then they invite you to the table. So when you go to a restaurant there doing bottling season, it's hilarious because there's a bunch of vineyards there. I mean, maybe in ordinance of 30 or 40. And everybody brings their bottle that's not quite labeled yet to the dinner. And sort of as a male appendage measuring exercise, they put bottles of their stuff on everybody's table. So you'll go to a restaurant to order food, and then you end up with like 6 bottles of wine on your table, and the various companies all try to outdo each other. So they're just walking around the restaurant pouring glasses, and you'll sleep the next day off completely. and then,
I'm not surprised. Probably
and then you can get, oh my goodness, it is such a blast. It is a lovely town. Everyone is super nice. And if you ever get a chance to go to Santa Ynez, California, or Los Olivos, because it's also where they grow olive oil, just quite an amazing adventure. And then you can go to Disneyland, because it's not that far.
I love
in Santa
Disney.
Barbara.
I've only been to Disney in California once, but I went with David Sparks, who also worked at Disney. So I got some extra info there, which was great fun.
Oh man, David, that's my dude. David and his wife come out to Hawaii every once in a while. I love David. He's cool. All right, gang, we're going to say bye. We appreciate you guys for coming through. I have to re-find my theme song because I buried it, but I got it. So here we go, gang. Don't forget Saturday. We'll see you in time for class. Rosemary, thank you so much. You are an absolute rock star.
The city of
Thank you for inviting me.
It
and
never
teaching me
gets
about
me
Ecamm.
down. City
You
of
need anything, you let us know. All right, gang. Don't forget Saturday class, guys. Click the Buy Me a Coffee link so you can join our class. We will get down and teach you some more cool stuff. But for now, we'll see you soon. Aloha, everybody. Peace out.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop worked his life when it's complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7. I love the people. This is the city I met all my best friends, and I wanna thank every brick. I wanna thank every entrance to every building that I step in this city of mine. I owe you most my best moments in life. See, I fell in love for the first time in Golden Gate Park. I saw my first rap.